Hey, it's Terry Vanover here with our Helpline. I just want to welcome you, say thank you for joining me today. I'm hoping everyone will pop on. I'll just give us a couple minutes to pop on. I'm struggling with technology today. Not sure what is going on. It's been a rough week. I can't get anything to work. So, okay, good. All right, we have some people joining us. And Andre, I see you have a question, right? You posted, so I appreciate that. I apologize for the angle, y'all. I can't use the computer because the audio won't work. I tried that last week and everyone yelled at me. Can you guys hear me? Can you just send me, hey, I can hear you. Good to see you. Something so I know that, we're good and you can hear me, because that's a big thing. So I've got some questions. I know Andre has posted questions about how to let go. Hi from South Africa. Yay. Hey. I know we've got some from Jason from a couple of days ago. Brad has some questions. So I'm going to try to answer your questions. So since Andre's here now, I'm going to go ahead and start with him. So Andre, you asked about how to let go, right? So I think this is a really amazing question, because that's part of the issue, right? You have to learn to accept in order to release. So I'm wondering, it always goes back to like what's preventing you from letting go. So getting and identifying the fear for you. What is causing you to hold on? Is it a fear of change? Is it a fear of rejection or abandonment? So I would get to, why is holding on serving you? If you're really holding on, why is that serving you? Because there's a chance that you're afraid to let go. You're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of being alone, being abandoned. So getting to understand that, and then understanding, I was talking with someone recently about this, that understanding that by holding on and holding on to the hope, it's actually keeping you in despair, right? So I said that earlier. Holding on to the hope is keeping you in despair. And once you accept and let go and embrace what is, then you can start to move forward. It's the holding on to what isn't and creating a relationship that isn't there that's keeping you in this sense of hopelessness, despair. So letting go is a process. So the first thing I would have you do is understand how this is triggering you. What's the fear? Are you afraid of being rejected? Are you afraid of being abandoned? And once you get in tune with yourself, really align with what's going on inside you and what's the fear, and then understanding that by letting go, you can actually move forward. Accepting and surrendering can help you to move forward. So, hey guys, I can see the questions on the camera. Yay. So if you would, you can type them in. And if you're typing in, I can answer any questions live. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to try to do a live helpline every week. Hopefully, unlike last week, you'll have some sound. So ask me your questions. I know Andre's posted some about how to let go, how to understand how to let go, understanding how it's holding you back, how it's triggering your fears will help you to, and I also believe it's a consciousness. I believe that we need to go through life and set an intention, and consciously surrendering will help you to let go. So I know Brad, he's a comic and he thinks he's funny, but he has a heart of gold, and he's really asking a serious question. I think a lot of guys would find value from the question that Brad asked, which is, if my wife cheated and she's still with that guy, and again, it's how to let go of that pain and the betrayal. So betrayal is an interesting one. And it's a process. So I wish I could say there's an easy answer, do this, this, and this. But I will say it is a process. And the first is identifying why this triggers you. Maybe it's the rejection of your wife, or feeling that you're not good enough and she chose someone else over you. That's like really triggering the anger and the resentment. And surrendering to our expectations, understanding that things change. Life is impermanent, right? And so I think we often get caught up in the betrayal of, we think that, and again, the expectation that she had when you married and the expectation that you had at married, she may have had every intention. You may have had every intention of holding on to that. And unfortunately, understanding that an expectation is really an unmet need, and disappointment is not having your needs met, and so understanding that at the time she may have expected to really fulfill that, and for whatever reason that expectation changed, she changed. So surrendering to that things change, and also becoming aware of like your own triggers, why this causes so much heartbreak in you. Like, what is this? Is this rejection? Is this a sense of worthlessness? Is this a sense of a failure? And again, I believe that our adult relationships all go back to our childhood. We choose our intimate grown-up partner from that unhealed place as a child. We're trying to heal whatever that parental relationship is that needs to be healed. So understanding that you chose her for a certain reason and recognizing that will help you. Identifying your own part in the relationship will help you get back your power. I know that seems hard to understand, but when you blame others, you give up your power. You're a victim to them. So when you take accountability for yourself in the relationship, you're actually going to take back your power. So that's something else, is to take back your power. And forgiveness. You're not going to like that. I know Brad, and he's going to be like, screw you, forgiveness. But truly, I want to talk about forgiveness because we had a really good discussion on the workshop just now about forgiveness, and I explained what forgiveness is. And I know there's a lot of guys in here that are struggling with moving on and letting go. And listen, guys, by holding on to what was, you're not going to be able to embrace the future. So figuring out what's keeping you from letting go, how is this serving you? How is holding on? Again, for many people, it's fear of change, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment. So figuring that out will help you move forward and understand what you need to move forward. Forgiveness is really important, and it is part of a process. So I want to make that clear too. Forgiveness isn't something, you get betrayed and then boom, oh look, I forgive you. I don't agree with that necessarily. And forgiveness and forgetfulness are not one and the same either. But forgiveness is about letting go of the toxic emotions that someone else gave to you. Forgiveness is about letting go of the toxic emotions that someone else gave you. It's not about forgetting what they did. It's not about letting down your healthy boundaries. In fact, you see that I work with men who need healthy boundaries. So if anything, we've got to build some healthy boundaries first, and then we do the forgiveness work. But forgiveness is about letting go of the pain and the toxicity that someone else gave you. And so if you let go of that, then you can be free. And I actually dealt with a betrayal about a year ago, and so I experienced this firsthand. And I will say, when you don't forgive, here's the thing too, when you're not forgiving, and Brad, you know this because I've said this to you, you are angry. You are holding on. There you are, Brad. You're angry. And I'm telling you, women can sense that. And when you're holding on to, when you're not forgiving, forgiveness, not forgiving, which I'm sure a lot of us have felt that way. I'm not forgiving her. She was a bitch and she took my children, blah, blah. Well, when you're doing that, you're holding on to all that negativity all inside of you, right? It's like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. So when you're refusing to forgive, what happens is energetically, you're pushing people that you love away. And at the same time, you're keeping someone that you don't want near you. You're emotionally entangled with them. So by forgiving, you're actually releasing them. You're releasing them from you. You're releasing them out of your mind, out of your heart. So by forgiving, you're actually creating the distance that you want. And by holding on to that, you know, I call it like holding on to like that toxic. It's like holding on to an emotional turd, and like, oh, this is mine. This is my emotional turd. And all you're doing is dirtying your own hands. And when you release it, you can create the distance between that person who hurt you and energetically pull in people that you want. So Brad, by overcoming this, you're going to energetically release your ex-wife and whoever, and release all that toxicity, and at the same time pull in healthy new relationships with women that you want. I don't want stage, but I am definitely happy that I am not with the ex. I'm very happy. Okay, I see. So let me get to that. I can kind of see you guys are typing in. Awesome. I'm going to get to something else that Jason had asked about. So Brad, I hope that was helpful about forgiveness, okay? So again, it's a process too. You don't just immediately go to forgiveness, and I know that because I've experienced it, but it is part of the process, and you have to get in tune with yourself to know, hey, I'm ready to forgive. I'm ready to let this go. So Jason had asked, what do you do when you have a mentally ill spouse? So let me see what he said. Oh, I can't find it. So it's about having a mentally ill spouse. Okay, so I am actually very pro marriage, and I believe, you know, there may be instances where someone is sick, and a mental illness is a sickness, right? It's like cancer. You don't ask for mental illness. I suffered from depression in my 20s, and so I think that you have to do everything you can so that that person gets the help that they need and they want. And being involved with that process can be very helpful. Asking, how can I support you? Can I go to your doctor's meetings with you? What is it you need? And again, that communication, letting the other person know, hey, this is affecting us in this way. And again, if you are with someone, if you're the caretaker of someone mentally ill, just like I would tell someone who's dealing with any kind of caretaking thing, radical self-care and radical self-compassion for yourself, because when you're dealing with someone who's ill, oh my God, that takes a toll on you mentally. So you need to make sure that you're doing everything you can to be physically fit, mentally fit, spiritually fit. So taking care of yourself first so that you can take care of the other person. So if you have a wife who's mentally ill, encouraging her to get the treatment and the help that she wants. And you know, but you also, again, you have to have healthy boundaries. It's not okay to be around someone who isn't willing to get the help, who doesn't see how their behavior is affecting you. And if you have children in this, your priority needs to be the children and their health, and making sure that they're taken care of and not neglected and not in a volatile situation. So although I'm very pro marriage, and like you do everything you can to get that marriage to work, you also have to protect that children. And if they're in a situation where they need to be taken out of or removed, and you need to remove for the sake of you and the sake of those children, that needs to be the priority. But I would say get involved with the treatment, understand what the process is, get a strategy. I think so many people just don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. There should be a plan. When you go have cancer, or you go have treatment, or you have a mental illness, whatever it is, just because you're mentally ill, you know, it's still a disease. You just don't see it, and it manifests as behaviors. But there should be a treatment plan. You should know what's going on. You shouldn't be blind. And you're a partner, so you should be a part of that. Just like you would if your wife were getting, you know, oncology treatments for cancer. So be a part of that. Make sure that you're not enabling, but that you are part of the healing. So I see someone else has posted a comment. I'm dealing with the sense that if this perfect life for me didn't work, then what will I be looking for if it's not the same thing? A lot of fear of not knowing what will make me happy. Okay, Ricardo, that's super interesting. Okay, So I want to also make sure that y'all understand that divorce is a grieving process. So you need to work through that grief. You're going to go through the stages of grief: denial, anger, acceptance, anxiety, all that stuff. So you need to make sure that you understand that this is a grieving process. So, but what makes divorce particularly difficult in the grief is that you're not only grieving what was, you're grieving what you thought your future was going to be. So that's what makes divorce super, super difficult, because like, oh my God, we had this retirement all mapped out. Oh my God, we were going to have grandkids together. So you're grieving the loss of your future in addition to the loss of what you have. So a lot of fear of not knowing what will make me happy. So Ricardo, you have to figure out what makes you happy. And maybe I'm wondering if a lot of your identity, and I see this with men, where their identity is wrapped up in being a family man, and then they lose that, and then who the hell are they, right? Who the hell am I if I'm not a husband and a dad? So it might be reconnecting with yourself. What are your hobbies? What are your likes? What are your dislikes outside of her, right? I see a lot of people when they get married, they give up their individualism, and it's really important to be an individual so that you can bring something to the marriage. So I would caution anybody from doing that. You need your own friends, you need your own hobbies, you need your own interests. So you need to bring that into the relationship to make the relationship better. So Ricardo, it couldn't have been a perfect life. It couldn't have been a perfect life, or you wouldn't be divorced. So I would suggest or invite you to like look inwardly and see, what are you missing? Where are the red flags that you're missing right now? And so that you can learn from it, so that this can be an opportunity for growth from you, for you, and also so that you can, learn from this and do better the next time. But also understand you're probably grieving. There is a lot of fear. This is a scary time. It's an overwhelming time. But reconnecting to what makes you happy. What friends make you happy. What hobbies make you happy. Reconnecting with yourself. Finding out what that is. All right, and y'all can feel free. I'm not seeing any more comments. God, I hope this is still going. I don't know what stage I am, but I'm definitely happy that I'm not with the ex. Okay, yeah, I'm happy she left. My issue is how to finish this legal process and why women in general has better outcome. Oh, well, and I've actually, okay, Armando, I know it may feel that way. I know that it feels that way with you guys, but look, y'all, and I know I'm a woman, but I'm going to put, I just want to talk to you statistically speaking. And the reality is, and I've asked my attorney friends, I've even asked, hey, who comes out better in divorce? And really the truth is women and children, single women and children fare far worse, statistically speaking, than men. Okay, are there exceptions? Of course. However, because, there's some other socioeconomic factors that come into play, women in particular do fare far worse than men after divorce. Their job opportunities are limited. There's some gender inequalities with pay and stuff like that. So it's not just the divorce that puts women at a disadvantage, socioeconomic stuff and cultural stuff as well. So I know it feels shitty. I mean, it feels horrible. It feels, I think, I'm going to just totally be honest with you. That's why I'm super, super damn pro marriage, man. Divorce is not a win-lose situation, and it's definitely not a win-win situation. Y'all, it is a lose-lose situation. Everybody, actually lose-lose-lose. You, your wife, your ex-wife, and your children all lose in this situation. It's not good for anybody, So understand that she might be fighting really hard because there's so many reasons why I think a lot of times people have people in their ear telling them, oh, you should fight for this, and he cheated on you, so you deserve this and you deserve that. And like, y'all, I saw it in the group, like, cheating has no bearing on the divorce. Judges don't give a shit why you're getting a divorce. They really are just there to, like, you know, disperse the property and get parenting time with the children and like move on. And that's what they want you to do. And that's another thing I say. You are not going to get emotional justice from a legal system. And that's what a lot of people do. They're trying to penalize their ex using the legal system. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And listen, I will say this. Do you really want strangers making decisions for your life? I don't. I know what's best for my children. And my ex-husband knows what's best for my children. So if you can work out how to negotiate this process and know what's best for your children, that's always the best. All right, so ask me some questions, y'all. I'm answering the questions. Hard to remember those things and these. Yeah, listen. Oh my God, yeah, Richard. Shit, this is like the worst thing you're ever going to go through. This is one of the worst events you're ever going to experience. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not. I've been through it. And it was the darkest damn time of my life, man. It was horrible. And I wasn't in a damn pandemic. So I'm like, holy crap. Talk about like overwhelming and chaotic right now. But I will say, I want you to think back when you, okay, Sandra says cheating. Yeah, it's hard to prove that. And it's, again, yes, I mean, are there some cases on the books where in some states where it's like a no fault state versus a fault state? Yeah, but like generally overall, they just really want to do what's fair. Judges just want to dispense the property and the parenting time. And again, if you can negotiate this, and again, if you can think about this in terms of fairness and your children, right? Again, so what I was going to say is you want to look back at this time and know that you came through the darkest, worst time in your life, and you can look back and not have regrets and not feel shitty about yourself, and you took the high road. That's always better. That's always better, you know? So you want to look back at this time and go, man, I did the best that I could despite all the crap that I was going through, despite all the shit that she put me through, all the fighting, all this, you know, you want to look back and like, I really held to my morals and my values, and I did the best that I could through this. And believe me, you think that your kids don't know how bad things are. They do. They really, really do. And so if you think that they don't understand, this is what I was saying about the forgiveness thing too. Your children are very well aware if you're holding on to animosity against your ex. So if you think your children aren't aware of that, they are totally picking up on it. And if nothing else, remember, this is for your children's sake. This is for, you know, I want to look back. This is the mother of my children. It may not have worked out for us, but children pick up on that sense of, if you hate their mother, there is a part of them that thinks that you hate them too, because they are part of their mother. And so you have to let that go. What if she's never, so, you know, again, so look back at this time and know, man, I'm proud of the way I behaved. I was, you know, I honored my children and I honored myself through this. So what if she's never been a parent around her children and the court seemed to still side with her? So yeah, I do think that there is still some gender bias. I do think that. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, no, the courts are so fair. And, you know, there's still some gender bias about that, about moms and dads and who should get their kids. I am a believer in Okay, can you give me 5 minutes?
I'm gonna start your car.
Give me 5 minutes, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up here. They're gonna take it out of here. So I do believe, Richard, that there is some gender bias. And judges are loath to take the children away from their mother. And look, honestly, you don't want to be doing that either, but should you be fighting for parenting time? Absolutely. I believe that fathers are just as important in the lives of their children. Oh my goodness, for sure. So I hope that we can start to see parents as parents and not see the genders. But I want you to, Richard, so you being a part of your children's lives, regardless of what happens legally, you can still be a part of your children's lives. You can do everything you can to show them that you love them, that you're there for them. And again, if you can negotiate this with her, it's always better if you guys are making the decisions for your children. And again, and that's where I think a lot of people make the mistake too. If you start throwing negativity against people, they're not going to want to work with you. So you want to try to work with the other parent. And that's the other thing, y'all. Courts want to see you two working together. They want to see you two fostering a parenting relationship with each other. So if you're bad-mouthing each other, that looks bad on you. It looks, if she's bad-mouthing you, it looks bad on you. So you need to do your best to foster a positive relationship with the other parent. Even if that other parent is not a great parent, you still want that parent in their lives. I've had clients, I had one client and her ex was an alcoholic, and actually it saddened her that her ex-husband didn't want to be in her son's life. She really did want him, and so she did try to foster a relationship where it was safe for her son, but she still wanted her ex-husband in her life because that father relationship is very important. That mother relationship is very important. So you should try to create as much of a positive relationship for your children. What do your children want, right? Your children don't want to be away from either parent, and they want to know that both parents love them. So it's all about the children, keeping the children in the forefront. I'm struggling with her constantly vilifying me, and I wanted to stop. Also, I want to go through a mediator, and she insists. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Totally, Douglas, good for you for thinking about doing alternative, because I do believe in alternative ways to doing divorce, because once she hires an attorney, he hires an attorney, and if y'all have seen Marriage Story, you know how quickly that shit turns sour, and courts twist that stuff all the time. Attorneys like to twist it, right? They're not for the family. They're for the system itself is designed to not create a good co-parenting relationship. The system itself. So if you can avoid attorneys, and again, it has its place. I'm not saying you shouldn't have attorneys. Sometimes it has its place. Absolutely. Absolutely. But if there's some alternatives and some other things you can do, a mediator, that's a great. So again, Douglas, I would try to figure out what her triggers are and what she listens to, what she receives. I have some clients whose ex-wives listen when money is a trigger for this one ex-wife that I work, this client that I have. So anytime he brings up attorneys and costs and fees, she balks and goes, okay, we'll work it out. So Douglas, I would try to find out what is her motivator. Look at her patterns and what is her motivator. And go with that and reason with that. Try to get her to see that, hey, an attorney is $5,000 a retainer, you, me, and we could blow 10 grand just to start, right? Or we could hire a mediator, or we could, do this ourselves for several hundred to several thousand and save our kids' retirement, or save our retirement account, or save our kids' college funds, whatever that is. So figuring out what is her button, what would make her want to negotiate with you, to use a mediator versus an attorney. again, so many people have so many misconceptions, especially women. I think there's a lot of people that tell women, well, you should take them to the cleaners and you should do this and you should do that. And then, they end up not in a good position. And again, divorce is not a win-win or a win-lose. It's a lose-lose-lose. Everybody loses. So if you can minimize the losses, that's always what is best for everyone. And then the second part of your question is, what if she's vilifying me? Douglas, you got to take the high road, man. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of a woman who did this, okay? Because what goes around comes around. Trust me, it might not be today, but eventually what goes around. So the parent who tries to poison their children against the other parent is going to, it will come around to haunt them. It'll come around to bite them in the ass eventually. It may not happen tomorrow or next week, but it happens eventually. I'm one of those people. My ex-husband, it was the same thing. Not my ex-husband, my husband. My husband has an ex-wife that isn't cooperative. Y'all know me and Ben, we're buddies. We hang out. His wife is my best friend. Like, we're all buddies. His ex-wife, it's not the same relationship, and that's okay. But I will tell you, she's done everything to sabotage his kids against him, and they eventually came around, and they see the truth eventually. I talked with this woman, I think 2 years ago, and actually I had an initial consultation and I declined her because she was so hateful and negative and toxic. I said, lady, I cannot work with you. You're not coachable. And it's the truth. Like, I only have clients that are willing to do the work and accept their responsibility. She was actually saying racist things on the phone in front of her child. Okay, I was like, is your child in the car with you? I was like, we need to get off the phone. I'm not going to participate in this. So she was downgrading her husband and all this stuff. So anyway, so I didn't take this person because it was not a good fit. But she's off Facebook. We're connected on Facebook. And wouldn't you know that those children that she has tried to poison against their father, who cheated, and I'm sure the husband did cheat on her. I get that. But they are no longer talking to her. She soured that relationship, and they are they don't talk to her anymore. Again, so children see through this eventually. But you have to take the high road, and you can only speak positively about their mother, no matter what she says about you. You can only say good things and, validate their feelings. Oh, I'm sorry that you're sad, or I'm sorry that you're angry about that. I love you. I only want the best for you. So, keep filling it with love. Keep choosing love no matter what, because no matter what, it's still your children's mother. It's still someone's connected to your child, and your child might love them. And so, although she might be playing dirty, trust me, it does not end up well. It does not work. But you being the taking the high road, always being your best and being a good dad and never speaking ill of her will say volumes about her. What's your view on accepting change when you don't? So, exactly. So, Andy, this will be my last one. Do you fight for something that isn't going to happen to say you've tried? Well, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying. So I do believe you should try everything to make the marriage work, because we've been talking about how divorce, and all the men here will tell you this is a lose-lose-lose situation. Although sometimes divorce is inevitable if it's unhealthy. But if you're not accepting of change, you need to look within you and go to the beginning of this video, because I talk about accepting change, and the fear of change is often the fear of something else, a fear of abandonment, a fear of change, fear of abandonment, a fear of rejection, loss of control. That might be what, because I think for many people change signifies losing control. So do you fight for something that isn't going to happen to say that you've tried? That one you're going to have to kind of search yourself. I'm not sure what you're referring to. So if you feel like I want you, so here's the question I would give you. When you look back at this time, what do you wish you had done? So I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, but if it's like going to counseling, even though you know, like, oh God, counseling isn't going to work, we're too far gone, I'm done. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but when you look back at this time, what do you wish you had done? Do you wish, hey, I wish I just cut it off and like moved on and gone on with my life? Or do you wish, I wish I'd tried one last thing to make sure I wasn't, you don't want to live with regrets. You don't want to look back at this time and regret, well, I could have done that, but I didn't do that. So that's what I want you to ask yourself. What's going to have you not have the regrets? So when you look back at this time, what do you wish you would have done? And if it's something where you're going to look back and regret, then you have your answer. Like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I regret not leaving when I should have, or I regret not doing this, this, and this. So that's always a good question. If you're ever struggling with something, use future self to help you look back and how will I not regret this? Okay? All right, so my husband's about to like take off and the phone is going to go off. So I'm going to leave here. I hope this was super, super helpful. Like, listen, y'all reach out to me. You know, you can Facebook message me if you want to talk more personal. If you have a situation that you want more insight and awareness and you're looking to work together, you can reach out to me on Facebook and let me know how I can help you through this time, because that's what I'm here for. So thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next week. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.